Okie dokie, I'm back. Hopefully you are too. Let's see. If you can see and hear me, please could you make a comment? I'll watch the screen and see that everything is okay. It seemed to be working, but just in case that now something went wrong with the preview thingy. Let's see. Now there's some. Hi Sharon. We're just about to start, just checking that picture and sound wise we're okay, and then I'll start. So this is what we're going to do today, or something like it. There's an old photo, and then there's mixed media touches, and the base is a wooden canvas that Prima has, at least. Hello everyone, and Sharon is here. If you have any questions, then Sharon can help. I'll try to watch the screen as well, but somehow the chat isn't scrolling. So Moikka Mira, hi. So I'm guessing as you're saying hello that you can hear me. Just give me a sign that everything is okay, and then I'll start. Just want to make sure that everything is working. Hi Anne. Hi Sylvia. Hi Trish. Thank you for joining. Moikka Malla. Kaikki, jotka on Suomesta, niin hei. Morjesta. Täällä ollaan. It's 9 p.m. here in Finland, so it's pitch black outside, but luckily I think the lighting is okay. Everything is okay. Perfect. Thank you, Malla. So let's get started. So today we're going to do something like this, a mixed media piece on top of a wooden canvas. And let me just move this aside. And then we have a brand new one here underneath. So I'm going to use the Amber Moon collection for the canvas because I was thinking of kind of Thanksgiving or like autumn feelings, although there's actually snow here in Finland already, at least in central Finland, but still Thanksgiving is coming. We don't celebrate that in Finland, but I know that we all can be thankful anyway. So as you can see, I just grabbed a piece of paper from the 6x6 Amber Moon pad and trimmed it. And then I need to trim a little bit off to make it fit. Naturally, I could just curve it around the edge as well, but this is faster. And what I'm using to adhere it is soft matte gel. It's a soft body gel medium. And even though it's white in the jar right now, it's going to dry transparent. So it's perfect for all kinds of adhering, especially to kind of collaging paper or something that's not heavy. For the heavy stuff, which I'm also going to use during, is this 3D version, because that's a heavy body gel medium. So it's better for if you're adhering metal or something that is heavy and needs a bit more thickness to the medium. So as you can see, even though my paper isn't like the whole canvas, it doesn't cover it, I still give a coat of medium to the whole canvas. And then I kind of sandwich it between the layers. So there's a layer of the gel underneath, and now I'm quickly spreading the top layer. So it's really secure there. trying to get it everywhere because gel kind of blocks the colors that come above it. So if I should miss a place, it will react differently to the watercolors I'm adding soon on top. So it's better to get it all the way through. And as it's an adhesive, you need to always put your like brushes, or if you use a palette knife, to water, or then wash them immediately. Otherwise they get ruined, or actually they become a material for the canvas. Hi everybody, thank you for coming. Let me just really quickly give this a bit of dry. As it's a thin layer, we don't need to dry that long, just enough, because the next layer is the textured version and I'm putting the stencil on top, so I don't want to adhere my stencil to the project. So for the textured layer, I'm going to be using a metallic paint. This is called the Brass Hardware, and thicken it with texture powder. As some of you are probably familiar with the metallic paints already, they are really fluid. So if you try to stencil like a raised layer with them, it's a bit tricky because they are not heavy body. They're really fluid and wonderful. But if you want to create a dimensional layer, you need something to thicken the paint. And Finnabair has this product, texture powder, which you can use to give texture to your paints, but also to thicken them. So let me just add some of that and then the paint. What it also does is a bit of kind of toning down the metallic shine. So sometimes that can be a really good thing. For example, here, I think the texture powder gives the paint a bit of a vintage look, as it's not as metallic anymore, but a bit more like it's been around for a while. I think I'm putting like maybe half and half, but you can really kind of, for example, now it starts to be dimensional when I'm actually like mixing it, then probably it will be dimensional with the stencil as well. And if you go too far, then you start to have only these little speckles on top of your mixing area, which means you then need to add more paint because then it's too dry. But this is kind of maybe toothpaste consistency. And then I'm placing my stencil and just spreading it. As always, the less you treat it or like go over certain areas, the better the pattern. So let's see. Yes, it worked. And again, acrylic paint. So I actually have a bowl of water and I can just dip the whole stencil there and I won't ruin it. And then I can just clean the silicone brush. So let me just grab, if you're just joining in, this is the project we are doing. And I'm just adhered the background paper with soft matte gel. And now I did the dimensional layer on top. And well, as you can see in the finished product, it doesn't show that much anymore, but hopefully this time, because I went a bit further, because that's the usual thing I miss. I concentrate too small of an area and then it gets lost with the all layers coming on top. Now that I'm drawing, I can try to see if there's questions. But if there's questions and Sharon can't answer, I'll just stream through everything after the show. So if you have any questions, just ask away. The texture powder is not something new, but it's kind of, well, it's not that well known, but it's really handy, for example, with the metallic paints, because then you can thicken them up. The impasto paints are thick as they are, so they are easy with stencils. But the metallic paints, you usually need to do like kind of flat layers, just with a dab on, dab off kind of thing. But with this product, you can then thicken the paints and get the raised effect. I just dried it a bit, so hopefully it will stay with the watercolors. Let's see. Just get rid of that. So I'm using, well, two ways of watercolors, because this is the one we all know, right? Well, probably yours is a bit more prettier than mine, because this is my favorite palette. It's called the Tropicals. And now there's the like liquid watercolors. So I'm using both, and I'm kind of going for, because this to me looks like there's purple and then there's like gray brown tones. So I'm mixing almost opposite colors, because when you mix opposites, what you end up is usually a brown or even sometimes a grayish tone. So I just put a little droplets, and now I'm trying to cover that I don't get color everywhere. And look at that. They're so highly pigmented, like the regular watercolors, so they just run all the way. And the reason I can do this is the gel underneath, because if it would be directly on paper, it would get absorbed immediately. But as there's the gel underneath, it acts almost like gesso, blocking the colors from absorbing into the paper, and I can just move them around. And then let's do some tea colored splashes. Probably one of the reasons why I love the Tropicals palette so much is that combining these three, the chocolate kind of brown, the what's that called, orange, and then the sandy tone, I get a perfect tea color. Naturally, you can use tea as well, but sometimes, well, usually I have a tea at hand, but sometimes it's just good to use the actual watercolors and not the beverage itself. So I'm just adding a bit of splashes and maybe some like more bluish tone of the purple. This is just a water mister, this one. And as you can see, there's the gel, so I can play. And whenever I add the color, it kind of highlights the texture. I really need to be a bit careful, because the pattern isn't dried yet. Although the texture powder, when you add it, it actually, because it makes the paint less moist, let's say. So it's easier to dry. So sorry, again, drying. But I try to be quick. Just enough to get too much of the water out. Oops, that's going all the way there. There we go. Just here. Maybe that's dry enough for now. Just try to get the biggest pools of color away. Because next, let me just get this one again. Next time I'm going to adhere this, and it's with the 3D gel. You can use gloss or matte. I usually use gloss because it's a bigger jar. So that's the reason why I usually choose that one. But if there would be too much moisture underneath, it would dilute the adhesive, and thus it would make like the drying time would be even longer. Here in Finland, the 3D gel dries about an overnight, so it's several hours. But if you live in a warmer climate, it will be a lot quicker. For example, in Phoenix, where I was, it was my first time in the US and in Phoenix, and I was so surprised how fast everything dried. So that trip really taught me a lot. Sorry. English is not my native language. So as you can see, I add quite a bit of the medium underneath because this metal piece is really heavy. So it needs to have a good layer. Let's see if I push it. And well, as you can see, I always use my finger. But if you don't want to get your fingers dirty or colored, you can naturally use a paintbrush or the silicone brush. And what I'm doing now is taking a wet brush and just gently removing the gel that is kind of peeking underneath, because the gel dries as it is. So if there would be like these bubbles kind of coming out, they would dry such, and that's not pretty. So preferably like this. And then it's the hard part. I need to choose which photo I'm using. My idea behind it was that you can choose to use an actual vintage photo, like these two, or then black and white or even colored one. But as it's a bit vintage, I would maybe recommend changing the colors of your family portrait to like black and white and use it. So I chose from the, like these are from the ephemera pack from Finn, and I chose kind of the family ones. I like the kind of aged look on this, but maybe this one or this one. Let's go with this one, right? And while this one is a bit drying, let me move that, for example, there for a second. Put those away. Let's do the paper layers behind it. Let me grab the sample so you can see. So now it's just layering papers and then a cheesecloth, piece of cheesecloth on top, and then comes the embellishments. But we are using the same paper as we used to the background for the layers coming on top, and just following the color palette. So maybe even that one. And well, that's always handy, kind of vintage paper things. And maybe even the lines, like a touch of them. I'm not going to use the whole thing, but usually when I'm doing paper layers, I choose like 3 of matching kind of colors. They don't need to be exactly the same, but as I follow kind of a color scheme throughout the project, then it's handy that the papers follow the same, and then everything matches. And when I'm doing paper layers, as you can see, there's no rhyme or reason. I just cut, because then I layer all of them in, like in my hand anyway. And if I then need a bigger piece or smaller piece, I can still cut. But at this stage, I'm just cutting different rectangulars. And usually there's handy to be one a bit bigger, almost the size of the photo. So it's kind of the back piece, like backing everything. And easier to hold on your hands than several teeny tiny ones. So like this, for example. Let me just clean my finger so I don't get gel medium everywhere. So let me get this one already. So stapler, and then the paper layers. If you're just joining in, hi, thank you for coming. There's going to be a recording of the whole thing later on. But if you have any questions, just ask. Sharon is here to help. So thank you, Sharon. And I'll skim through all the comments afterwards. So if there's anything, you can always ask in Finnish also, because, well, maybe I should say that in Finnish. Eli siis kysymyksiä voi esittää ihan suomeksikin. Tulen kuitenkin käymään kommentit läpi myöhemmin, niin voi sitten vastailla. So I'm just building the layers. And there's kind of a weaving type of thing. There's something vertical and something horizontal going on here. And if I add, for example, the stripy one here, it's handy to have it on the other side as well. And then maybe there. And then let's see on top of the actual project how it's looking. And again, I'm hiding all the texture layers. So maybe a bit tighter, like that. Then there's at least something showing here. And then I use a stapler to attach all the layers. I'm not sure where I first saw the stapler being used like this, but it was so handy, because normally I would tape everything down. And this way, the layers are a bit kind of fluffier, dimensional. And like I said, it's so handy. Now this one comes on top. So, yep. If I put it there, then those are still showing. It's a smack center, but maybe I'll make the composition like this, so it's not that like center anymore. So let me just quickly see if there's any questions. If you want to see the layering again, then just give me a shout, because I can always do another piece. But now let's see this, and then the cheesecloth. I think I was in Halloween mode when I was doing it, because, well, these two lovely girls, a bit kind of ghosty and ghoulish to my taste. And then there's the cheesecloth that could be like cobwebs. And even the color palette is a bit like Halloweenish. But naturally, if you are into more warmer tones or even blue, you can change the color palette totally. And what I'm now doing with the cheesecloth is kind of ripping it, so it's more dimensional and a bit like softer looking as well. And also that kind of hides the cut edge, so it doesn't look that like I came from a roll of fabric anymore. And yeah, I stable that one as well. And as you can see now, the kind of background and these colors don't match. So let's add a touch of watercolor on top before adding the photo. I'm adding a bit of water so it hides the harsh line between the colored and the uncolored. Just giving it a bit of the same purple I used in the background, and then a bit of the tea tone as well. And as you can see on top of papers, it just gives a little bit of hue, just that they don't seem to be coming out of the pack anymore, but more like they are treated as well as the background. So like that. And then this is coming on top. And naturally you can use foam dots, but what I nowadays use really much is just a piece of cardboard. We all get parcels, right? So it's handy to use that. Maybe I could add some of the cardboard to the actual layers as well as I did in here. Oh, here we go. A teeny tiny bit. Let's add that one first. Using the same gel, the 3D gel, to adhere the photo. Like that. And then the whole layers. Now there needs to be extra much on this side. Come on. Come on. Thank you. And then a smaller amount on top of this. As this one is raised. And like I said, the 3D gel dries as it is. So it will support this side and rest on that side on top of the metal. Maybe somewhere around here. What do you think? A piece there. And then, like I said, kind of balancing it out. Let's put that one there. I usually let the project lead me. So even though this is my sample and this is going to be totally different, the techniques are same, but the composition changes because of the background, like the colors in there are a bit differently placed and photo is a bit different. So that's part of the fun. Even though I usually have some kind of idea what I'm doing when I start, well, usually, then all the more fun when the project actually starts taking over and kind of making the decisions for me. So now that we have like the photo in place, so you can see the biggest difference with these two is now the details. So just adding in the details. And let's start as I'm using the Amber Moon collection, which is good for Halloween or Thanksgiving, even better for that. Then let's add a few stickers. Oh, I should have thought about this before, because usually, for example, choosing the words is taking a lot more time. But let's use So Blessed, and oh, that acorn is so cute. I want to add that one. Maybe on this side. Yes. Maybe a teeny tiny touch of something there still. What about those mushrooms? If I cut the sticker in half, I could get the mushrooms like just peeking here. Maybe there. And shall I add this one too? Yes, no, perhaps, maybe. Well, let's put it there. Like so. Then the dimensional layers, or sorry, embellishments. A couple of mechanicals. I adore these. They are so handy because like the round shapes fit to every project. And these are the perfect color palette for everything vintage. And let's see also, this is an older version. That's too big, like I thought. I'm going to use another set because the smaller flower is better sized for this project. So maybe add that one there this time. And then balance this one out in here. And now I'm hiding the mushroom, just I put there. That happens. And then maybe that one there. Yes. Back with the gel. If you have any questions about the gel medium, I'm happy to answer because this is one of my favorite mediums. So just type them in if you're new to that, because if you're doing something like this, especially with the really heavy metal embellishment, I wouldn't recommend any other glue, honestly. Even though I'm on Prima team and a Finnabair ambassador, even though I wouldn't be on any of those two, I still would use it. It's the best. Now I'm kind of filling in with the little ones. As you can see, there's kind of a triangle going on. Maybe that one's still there. And then let me just get everything out. Yes. A bit more here, so it kind of fills the groove in the flower. And then naturally we need maybe the teeny tiny yellow one here. Someplace. Maybe even there. What's also good about the melange pebbles that there's different sizes, so you can really kind of just dribble them here and there to finish your project. Maybe like that. And then finishing it off with this lovely stuff. As you can see, here the wire kind of draws the eye in and frames the photo, whereas here it's floating, so we need something on top. And the Prima wire is really handy for that, because usually when you just get it out of the, whatever that's called, thingy, sorry, like the spool, it's perfect round shapes already. Let me just think about the size wise. Maybe something of this kind. And then I just twist and turn the ends. The other one can be that long, but let's see. And then I usually just try to put it under and over the layers in my project. Because if you glue something like this down, it usually looks like it's glued down and it doesn't look good anymore. So what I used also here is just something to kind of keep it in place. So let's use that one. Just one here. Let me see if I can get the, yes. Now it's working, the paper clip. And then again, roundish. And you could use the wooden peg as it is, but well, you can't see it there. Let me just move this over so you can see. I actually painted the wooden peg to match the colors anyway to the whole project. So let's just add some color here as well. And I'm mixing a bit of the brown to the purple to kind of tone it down. A bit more vintage shaped than the actual purple. Here we go. And well, I just dried a little bit because otherwise it will stain the whole photo if I don't get it to the right place in one go. There we go. And then I can just add it here, and it will hold the wire as well in place. So now it's kind of secured in two places, but still it's free looking, flowing on top, just drawing the eye in to the composition and the central point of attention to the photo. So, there you have it. I bet you didn't know that it's done in 40 minutes. Well, maybe this looks simple that it's done in 40 minutes, but well, when you know the techniques and the mediums, and like here I had the composition already kind of thought out, then it's just gluing and the project is done. So I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for coming. Kiitos kaikille suomenkielisille, jotka tuli. Kiitoksia. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I'll answer them like after I just end the video. And oh, I hope I'll see you again next month. So thank you, Sharon, for moderating, and thank you all my teammates for coming, and well, happy Thanksgiving. Bye.